Welcome back to Perkins Pipes. Got to tell you, this is one I've had on the list. Couldn't tell you how long. Been waiting to do this episode. So excited about it. Everything you're going to see in this video, it all connects. I've got my Wildman and Steve hat from the classic rock, hard rock, metal podcast I used to co-host. I've got my deep purple rock and roll brand t-shirt. And I've got my Peterson Professor pipe, because we're getting ready to talk about the Maestro. Who might that be? Let's get this guy lit, and you'll find out. I should have also said I've got my very special blend Back in Black from my friend David Meese, a blend of Captain Black Royal and Gold with Backwoods Original. So, it's an all rock and roll episode today, folks. And if I just may say, if you like these kinds of things, rock and roll, literature, faith, philosophy, pipes, and more, please click subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of the fun over here at Perkins Pipes. If you'd ever like to join me in a chat on Brierside Chat, please shoot me an email, perkinspipes@gmail.com. When St. Thomas Aquinas would refer to the philosopher, he only ever meant Aristotle, despite the fact that obviously there were many philosophers before him, but he simply meant Aristotle. Athens, Alexandria, Jerusalem, all very important cities. But in the ancient world, when the Romans simply said the city, they meant Rome. And in the world of rock and roll, when you say the Maestro, you only mean Mr. Jon Lord. Jon Lord, who lived from 1944 to, I believe he passed 2012. And I want to spend a little time talking about this album and really Jon Lord's music. And as you see, I'm going to get the whole thing up here. You can see this is a tribute to Jon Lord. This was done at the Royal Albert Hall back in April of 2014. And it features, well, let me show you who it features. This is a double album, by the way, gatefold album, and I got it from my son. Before I show you this, so my daughter has fabulous taste in music, and I say fabulous because it so perfectly overlays my own. She has a marvelous list on Spotify of 60s, 70s, and 80s. And she's got some good rhythm and blues on there. She's got some soul. I think her absolute crazy go nuts favorite song is Why Can't We Be Friends by War. She loves stuff from the 80s as well. Love my daughter's taste in music. My son is more into 60s and 70s. Again, very, very close mapping of my own. Now, he's not so much into the hard rock and metal, but he's, Beatles, good night, Simon and Garfunkel, and bands like them, even in the modern era. And my son really gets the soul of music. He plays guitar, and he really understands my interest in music. And so he got me this for Christmas. new. I'm a huge Deep Purple fan, and we'll talk about Jon Lord in Deep Purple. And he got me this some years ago. So you'll see here on one of the albums, we got everybody here. Starting over here, we got Ian Pace on drums. We've got, here we go, we got Ian Gillan, the lead singer from the Mark II lineup and the current lead singer. We've got Steve Morse on guitar here. We've got Roger Glover on bass, original bassist. And then currently, we got the pipe going here, we got Don Airy on keyboards. Now on the other album sleeve, some beautiful shots there inside the Royal Albert. Here we've got Jon Lord's wife. Again, we got the other members of Deep Purple here. And then even over here we got Bruce Dickinson, shot of Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. So what these guys did, they decided to come together and actually there's a couple or 2 or 3 volumes, I think. This is volume 2, The Rock Legend, celebrating his more rock and roll music. We've got songs Uncommon Man, Above and Beyond, Lazy, When a Blind Man Cries, Perfect Strangers, Black Knight, and Hush. And reading off the back here, this also featured, as Bruce Dickinson showed you his picture there from Iron Maiden, Rick Wakeman from Yes. We've got Phil Campbell here from Motorhead, and then truly the inimitable Bernie Marsden and Mickey Moody from the early days of Whitesnake. If you want blues guitarist, my word, it doesn't get any better than Bernie Marsden and Mickey Moody. Go check out even their solo stuff. So, you've heard me speak about Deep Purple on this channel before, and I love Deep Purple. I pretty much stopped after 1976 with them. 76 was the Mark IV lineup with David Coverdale on vocals. Richie Blackmore had left, and Tommy Bolin from the James Gang picked up the guitar lead there. Then he passed because of a heroin overdose. Band broke up. And that was really it for me for Deep Purple. Purple's gotten back together. They've released numerous other albums. I haven't followed them really deeply in the years since 76. So from 68 to 76, for 18 years, Deep Purple made some of the finest music that this planet has ever heard. And a core part of that, although so many people focus on Richie Blackmore and his guitar, no question, Richie, phenomenal guitarist, but Jon Lord and his Hammond B3 organ. I want to tell you, that set the tone, set the framework for certainly the first 3 Deep Purple albums and countless other songs and albums after that. Now, there's a wonderful, and by the way, again, wonderful blend here from David Meese. This Captain Black Royal, Captain Black Gold, and Backwoods Original. Back in Black, perfect blend here for talking about rock and roll. Smells delightful as well. So, and unfortunately, I had to take some notes on this. I don't like working off of notes, but I had to for this. It's just too much. So, there's a wonderful video. I'm going to link to it here for you, and it has a bunch of Jon Lord's, just his organ and keyboard solos. Worth your time to check out if you're new to Jon Lord, new to his music, a good little taste of what his organ playing is like. Let me run down a few of the favorites there on that video. They start off with April, the song April, although they do mislabel it. They say it's from the Book of Talisman album, which that is incorrect. It came out from the Deep Purple album, which came out in 1969. Book of Talisman was in 68. They've got his solo Hard Lovin' Man from the 1970 album In Rock. Also Speed King from In Rock, and Child in Time from In Rock, all 1970. They've got on that one, they've got one song from Fireball, the title track Fireball from the 1971 album. They've got Rat Bat Blue from Who Do We Think We Are, 1973. And they've got, I left out the Highway Star from Machine Head, 1972. And then Burn from the title track from the Burn album, 1974. If you just listen to that listen to that video, you're going to get a taste of Jon Lord's extraordinary keyboard playing. Truly just rocked the Hammond. And you ever watch some live videos? This guy's rig, and he's standing, right? He's standing up behind his rig, and a lot of times he's just rocking that thing back and forth as he is playing. Now, I made note of some of my other favorites, and we'll put them in a list here. If you're interested, you can go check them out. But I picked 3 off of their debut album, Shades of Deep Purple, 1968. The opening track and the address. Their version of Hush, which I think is one of the all-time best versions of Hush, and One More Rainy Day. Later in 68, they came out with their second album, sophomore album, exquisite album, The Book of Talisman, and their song Anthem has a wonderful, wonderful Jon Lord organ solo in it. And then I had to pick 4 off of their third album, the last of the Mark I lineup with Nick Simper on bass and Rod Evans on vocals. This was simply titled Deep Purple. It came out in 1969. You've got Chasing Shadows and Blind. I picked 5 songs. Chasing Shadows, Blind, The Painter, April, which was on that a compilation video I mentioned at the beginning, and perhaps my all-time favorite of Jon Lord's, Lalena. Absolutely exquisite playing on that one, and indeed on all of them. So, Jon Lord was a classical musician. You hear lots of classical pieces throughout his stuff, even with Deep Purple. And then he got Deep Purple to record the piece Concert for Orchestra and Band. He did another piece called Windows. He loved doing orchestral stuff. And I like this because it points out so well that rock and roll does not have to be what some people mistakenly think it is, just a bunch of knuckle-dragging Neanderthals singing chest-beating songs, how should we put this, trying to get a wife for the night, if you know what I'm saying. So many of these, especially the classic era of rock and roll, and I'm really thinking about, the 50s, 60s, 70s. You have some really, really good quality musicians here, people who knew their stuff, people who could play many different styles. And I think when you look at Deep Purple, who in addition to being counted among the the fathers of hard rock and heavy metal, are often lumped into the prog rock, progressive rock family as well. You see the musicianship, you see the virtuosity of some of these people, the players and the singers as well. And when I think about musical virtuosity, right, you've got to think about people like Paul McCartney, right? You think about Paul McCartney and the Beatles. The man could play just about anything, wildly creative. Obviously, you think about a virtuoso guitarist like Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, Ritchie Blackmore, these people. So many stunning vocalists. Ian Gillan, Robert Plant, Ronnie James Dio, David Coverdale, Bruce Dickinson, Paul Rogers, the list goes on and on. You think about these incredible drummers. And I do think a lot of people think immediately of Bonzo. They think about John Bonham from Led Zeppelin. Too often, Ian Pace goes overlooked. And I think an argument could be made, and I think an argument could be made by a lot of people, that Pace really is one of the best drummers of all time. Yeah, there are some magnificently powerful drummers out there, many still going today. Ian Pace is still going today. In fact, he is let me see, is this right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the only original member of Deep Purple, still in Deep Purple. But the man is just wildly creative. If you listen to his fills, you listen to things, what he's doing with that. And then you come around to Jon Lord. There's a reason why everybody he played with loved him. Can't say the same for all these artists. Ritchie Blackmore notably being a difficult person to work with, according to some. Jon Lord seemed to be loved by all of his bandmates, beloved by fans. From what I've read, just a genuinely nice guy. And what he does, the feel. You feel it in your gut, what he's doing with that Hammond B3 organ. And at this point, I'm going to say, I've talked enough. I've talked enough about Jon Lord. I'm so grateful to my son for getting me this album, this tribute at the Royal Albert Hall. Check out Jon Lord's stuff. Encourage you to do that. Specifically, if you've got any Deep Purple stories or Jon Lord stories you'd like to share, we'd love to hear them. As always, as Malcolm Guite likes to say, I do these little things in order at last to do nothing. Or as I like to say in Latin, Parva ago ut tandem, nihil agam. Have a wonderful day.